The black Mercedes pulled through the security gates of the Banana Island mansion at exactly 8:47 p.m. Chief Adebayo Ogunlade sat in the back seat, smiling to himself. He closed the oil deal in Abuja 3 weeks early. 3 whole weeks. The investors had been so impressed with his presentation that they signed everything on day 2 instead of dragging it out like usual. "Sir, shall I announce your arrival?" his driver, Taiwo, asked as they approached the massive iron gates. "No, no," Chief Adebayo said, waving his hand. "I want a surprise, madam. Don't call ahead. Don't tell anyone." Taiwo nodded, though his eyes flickered with something Chief didn't catch. Worry? Fear? But it passed too quickly. The gates opened. The mansion stood before them like a palace. White columns, gold trim on the windows, perfectly manicured lawns, and a fountain in the circular driveway that sparkled under decorative lights. Chief Adebayo had built this place from nothing. From the streets of Mushin, where he grew up, sharing one room with his mother, to this, his empire, his kingdom. And waiting inside was his queen, Kayamika. At least, that's what he believed. The car stopped. Chief Adebayo stepped out, straightening his traditional blue abaya. He'd worn it for the final negotiation meeting in Abuja. Good luck, he thought. He left his suitcase in the car. "I'll get it later," he told Taiwo. "Just park. I'm going in." The front door was unlocked. Strange. The security guard who usually stood there was missing. Chief frowned but brushed it off. Maybe he's doing rounds, he thought. Inside, the house was too quiet. No music playing from the living room, where Kayamika usually watched her reality shows. No sound of her voice on the phone with her friends, gossiping for hours about other people's lives. No laughter, just silence. Chief Adebayo walked through the marble-floored entryway. His footsteps echoed. He looked toward the kitchen. Empty. He checked the living room. Empty. The lights were dim, like someone had turned them down on purpose. "Kayamika!" he called out softly. No answer. Then he heard it, a sound from upstairs. Laughter. Soft, quiet laughter. A man's laughter. Chief's heart began to beat faster. He stood at the bottom of the grand staircase, his hand gripping the gold railing. He told himself to stay calm. Maybe it's the television, he thought. Maybe she's watching a movie. But his gut said otherwise. He climbed the stairs slowly, each step careful, quiet. The laughter came again. And this time he heard her voice too. Kayamika's voice. Playful, sweet, the way she used to sound with him years ago, before things became routine. The master bedroom door was half open. Light spilled out into the hallway. Chief Adebayo's breath caught in his throat. His hands began to shake. He reached the door, placed his palm flat against the wood, pushed it open just a little more. And there, on the king-size bed he had paid millions of naira for, wrapped in the silk sheets he'd imported from Italy as a gift for their anniversary, was his wife. But she was not alone. A man lay beside her, tall, lean, shirtless, his arm draped over her waist like he owned her. They were laughing at something on her phone, completely relaxed, completely comfortable. Chief Adebayo's mouth opened. A sound tried to escape. Rage, pain, betrayal, all of it rising up from his chest like a volcano about to explode. But before a single word could come out, a hand suddenly covered his mouth from behind. A soft, trembling voice whispered urgently into his ear, "Sir, please, be quiet." Chief Adebayo's eyes went wide. His entire body went stiff. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst. He tried to turn his head, but the hand stayed firm. "Sir," the voice whispered again, desperate. "Please, don't let them hear you." It was Blessing, the maid. Chief Adebayo's mind raced. Why? Why was she stopping him? This was his house, his wife, his bedroom. But Blessing's grip was gentle yet insistent. She slowly pulled him backward, away from the door, one quiet step at a time. Inside the bedroom, Kayamika laughed again. The man said something low. They didn't notice anything. Blessing led Chief Adebayo down the hallway, past the guest rooms, past the artwork on the walls, until they reached his private study at the end of the corridor. She opened the door quickly, pulled him inside, and closed it behind them. Only then did she remove her hand from his mouth. Chief Adebayo spun around to face her. His eyes were red, filled with tears he refused to let fall. His jaw was clenched so tight it hurt. "Why?" he whispered harshly. "Why did you stop me?" Blessing's hands were shaking. Her eyes were wide with fear, but also with something else. Determination. "Sir," she said quietly, "if you had gone in there, if you had confronted them, everything would be ruined." "Ruined?" Chief's voice rose slightly. "My wife is in bed with another man. What could be more ruined than that?" "They have a plan, sir," Blessing said urgently. She reached into her apron pocket and pulled out her phone. "I've been watching them for weeks. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know if you would believe me. A maid's word against Madam's word." Chief Adebayo stared at her. "What plan?" Blessing's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "They're going to destroy you, sir. Not just your marriage. Everything. Your business. Your reputation. Your freedom." Chief felt his legs weaken. He sat down heavily in his leather chair. "Explain." Blessing took a breath. "The man in there is Emeka Akoli, Madam's ex-boyfriend. They never stopped seeing each other. Not even after your wedding." Chief closed his eyes. The pain was unbearable. "They've been planning this for months, sir," Blessing continued. "I've heard them talking. Tomorrow night, Madam is going to accuse you of beating her." Chief's eyes snapped open. "What?" "She has fake bruises ready. Makeup. She's been practicing in the mirror. I saw her." Blessing's voice cracked. "She's going to call the police. She's going to tell the media. She's going to take half of everything you own and run away with him." Chief Adebayo felt like he was falling through space. None of this was real. It couldn't be real. "Sir," Blessing said, stepping closer. She held out her phone. "Record them. Right now, before they know you're here. Get their confession. It's the only way to protect yourself." Chief looked at the phone, then at Blessing. This young woman, barely 24 years old, who cleaned his house and served his meals and asked for nothing, was trying to save his life. "Why?" he asked hoarsely. "Why are you helping me?" Blessing's eyes filled with tears. "Because you're a good man, sir. You paid for my mother's surgery last year when I couldn't afford it. You let me study at night, even though it's not in my contract. You treat me like a human being." She wiped her eyes quickly. "Madam treats me like dirt, and I've watched her laugh about destroying you. I couldn't let it happen." Chief Adebayo stood up slowly. He took the phone from Blessing's trembling hand. "Where are they now?" "Still in the bedroom. They think you're in Abuja for 3 more weeks. They're careless." Chief nodded. He walked to the door, opened it quietly, and moved back down the hallway like a ghost. Blessing followed close behind. They stopped outside the master bedroom. The door was still half open. The voices inside were clear now. Chief held up the phone, pressed record, and listened. Kayamika's voice. "This is perfect. Tomorrow night, everything changes." Emeka's voice, lazy and confident. "You sure he won't fight back?" Kayamika laughed. "Adebayo? Please. He's too calm, too trusting. He won't even see it coming." "And the bruises?" "Already tested the makeup. Looks completely real. I'll scream, cry, show the marks. The police will have no choice but to arrest him. And then we wait. Once the case is public, I'll file for divorce. Domestic violence grounds. I'll get half of everything. The oil company, the properties, the offshore accounts. All of it." Emeka whistled low. "That's over 10 billion naira. Closer to 15 billion, Kayamika corrected. "And once it's done, we disappear. You and me, maybe Dubai, maybe London, somewhere he can never find us. What if he tries to prove his innocence?" Kayamika's voice turned cold. "With what?" "It'll be my word against his. And I'm the victim. The media always believes a woman, especially against a rich man. They love that story." Chief Adebayo's hands were shaking so badly the phone almost slipped. But he held on. He kept recording. Emeka spoke again. "You're brilliant, you know that?" "I know," Kayamika said, her voice full of satisfaction. He thought he was getting a wife. He was getting a trap. They laughed together. The sound was sharp, cruel, triumphant. Chief Adebayo stopped the recording. He backed away from the door. Blessing pulled him gently toward the study again. Once inside, Chief collapsed into his chair. He buried his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. Blessing stood there, silent, giving him space to break. Minutes passed. Then Chief looked up. His eyes were red, but they were also hard now, focused. "She called me a trap?" he said quietly. "Yes, sir. She's been planning this from the beginning." "I believe so, sir." Chief stared at the phone in his hand. The recording was there. Every word, every laugh, every piece of evidence he needed. "What do I do now?" he asked, his voice hollow. Blessing knelt down beside his chair. "Sir, you pretend. You act like you know nothing. You give them rope to hang themselves." "Pretend?" Chief's voice broke. "How can I go back in there and smile at her? How can I sleep in the same house?" "Because," Blessing said firmly, "if you confront them now, they'll destroy the evidence. They'll change the story. They'll make you the villain before you can prove anything." She looked him in the eyes. "Sir, you have to be smarter than them. You have to be quiet." Chief Adebayo closed his eyes. "Be quiet." The same word she'd whispered when she stopped him at the bedroom door. "How long?" he asked. "Until tomorrow night. Let them make their move. Let them accuse you. And then," Blessing's voice turned steel, "you show the world who they really are." Chief took a deep breath. Then another. Slowly, painfully, he nodded. "Okay," he whispered. "I'll be quiet." Blessing stood up. "I'll keep recording everything, sir. Every word. Every moment. We'll have so much proof they won't be able to lie their way out." Chief looked at her with something close to wonder. "You're very brave." "No, sir," Blessing said softly. "I'm just tired of watching evil people win." Chief Adebayo stood up. He straightened his agbada, wiped his face, took one more deep breath. "Then let's make sure they don't win this time." And with that, the billionaire would come home to surprise his wife walk back downstairs, paste a smile on his face, and prepare to play the role of the fool. Because sometimes the only way to catch a snake is to let it think you're sleeping. The next morning, Chief Adebayo woke up in the guest room. He'd told Kayamika he didn't want to disturb her after his late arrival. She'd smiled sweetly and kissed his cheek. "You're so thoughtful, my love," she'd said. "My love." The words made his stomach turn. Now, sitting on the edge of the guest bed as sunlight streamed through the window, Chief stared at his hands. They looked the same as yesterday, but everything else had changed. He wasn't the man who'd left for Abuja 3 weeks ago, full of hope and trust. He was something else now, broken, awake, dangerous. A soft knock on the door made him look up. "Come in." Blessing entered carrying a tray. "Hot tea, bread, eggs." She set it down on the side table and stood quietly, waiting. "Did they see you bring this?" Chief asked in a low voice. "No, sir. Madam is still sleeping. The man left before dawn." Chief nodded. Of course he did, like a thief in the night. "Sir," Blessing said carefully, "what's the plan for today?" Chief picked up the teacup. His hands were steady now. "Today I'm the perfect husband. Sir, I'll have breakfast with my wife. I'll ask about her week. I'll smile. I'll act like nothing is wrong." He sipped the tea. It was bitter. Good. He needed bitter. "And tonight, when she makes her move, I'll have every second recorded." Blessing hesitated. "Sir, are you sure you can do this?" "Pretending it's not easy." Chief looked at her. "I built a billion-dollar company from selling pure water on the streets of Lagos. I've faced ministers who tried to cheat me, business partners who tried to betray me, competitors who wanted me dead." His voice hardened. "I can pretend to love a woman I once actually loved." The pain in those words hung in the air. Blessing bowed slightly. "I'll keep watching, sir. I'll record everything." "Be careful," Chief warned, "if they catch you." "They won't, sir." After she left, Chief dressed carefully. He wore a simple white kaftan and his favorite cap. He looked in the mirror. His face showed nothing. Good. He perfected this mask years ago in business. Never show your hand. Never let them see you sweat. He walked downstairs. Kayamika was already in the dining room, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when he entered, and her face broke into a smile that once melted his heart. Now it just made him sick. "Good morning, my king," she said cheerfully, standing to kiss him. Chief kissed her back, forced himself not to pull away when he smelled a cologne that wasn't his. "Good morning, my queen. How did you sleep?" "Lonely," she pouted. "The bed is too big without you." The lie was so casual, so practiced. Chief wondered how many times she'd lied to him before. Hundreds? Thousands? They ate breakfast together. Kayamika talked about her week. Spa visits, shopping with friends, a charity event she'd attended. All lies, Chief knew now. She'd been with Emeka, planning, scheming. "And how was Abuja?" she asked, sipping her juice. "Successful. Very successful. I'm so proud of you, baby." She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "Everything you touch turns to gold." Chief looked at their joined hands. Her ring. 5 million naira, custom made, diamonds imported from South Africa. He'd given it to her on their wedding day. She'd cried, or pretended to cry. "Kayamika," he said slowly, "do you love me?" She blinked, surprised. "Of course I do. What kind of question is that?" Sometimes I wonder. We've been married 5 years, but lately you seem distant." "Distant?" She laughed lightly. "Baby, I'm right here. I'm always here." The lie was so smooth, it was almost art. "You're right," Chief said, forcing a smile. "I'm probably just tired from the trip." "Then rest a day," Kayamika said sweetly. "I'll take care of you." "Take care of me," Chief thought bitterly, like a lamb before slaughter. The day dragged on like torture. Chief worked in his study, reviewing documents he couldn't focus on. Every few hours, Kayamika would check on him, bring him food, ask if he needed anything, play the perfect wife. And every time, Chief smiled and thanked her, even as his heart screamed. Around 3 p.m., his phone buzzed. A text from Blessing. "Sir, I saw her. She's testing the makeup bruises again. Tonight is definitely the night." Chief texted back. "Stay safe. Record everything. I'll call my lawyer now." He dialed Barrister Tundedelik, his lawyer for the past 10 years. "Chief Adebayo, welcome back. How was Abuja?" "Tund, I need you to listen carefully. Don't interrupt." The tone made the lawyer go quiet. Chief explained everything. The discovery, the recording, the plan for tonight. Barrister Tund was silent for a long moment. "Chief," he finally said, this is serious. I know. If she accuses you publicly, even with evidence, the damage to your reputation could be catastrophic. That's why I need you ready. The moment she makes her move, I want you prepared to strike back. We go public immediately. Press conference. Evidence. Everything. It's risky. More risky than letting her destroy me? No, you're right. I'll prepare everything. And Chief, yes, I'm sorry. No man should go through this. Chief hung up and sat in the darkening study. Outside, the sun was setting over Banana Island. Beautiful, peaceful, a lie, just like everything else. At 7 p.m., Kayamika called him for dinner. They sat across from each other at the long dining table. The chandelier sparkled above them. Chef had prepared his favorite, jollof rice, grilled chicken, plantain. He couldn't taste any of it. "Adebayo," Kayamika said suddenly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you ever think about having children?" The question hit him like a punch. Children. He'd wanted them for years. She'd always said, "Not yet. Let's enjoy our youth." Now he knew why. Can't run away with a billionaire's baby. "I think about it often," he said carefully. "Maybe soon," she said with a smile. More lies. Or maybe not. Maybe after tonight, after she took half his wealth, she'd have children with Emeka. Live the life she'd always wanted. Just without him. After dinner. Chief retired to his study. He told Kayamika he had urgent work. She kissed his forehead and said, Don't work too hard, my love. He closed the door, locked it, and finally let the mask slip. His hands shook. His chest felt tight. He sat down and put his head in his hands. A soft knock. "Sir, it's me." He opened the door. Blessing slipped inside quickly. "She's on the phone with him right now." Blessing whispered urgently. "I heard her in the bathroom. She said tonight at 9. Everything is ready." Chief looked at his watch. 8:47 p.m. 13 minutes. "Where will you be?" he asked. "In the hallway. Recording." "Sir, please." Blessing's eyes filled with tears. "Please be careful." "I will." She nodded and slipped back out. Chief Adebayo sat down at his desk. He opened his laptop and started typing an email to his board of directors. Not to send yet, but to be ready. At 8:55, he heard footsteps on the stairs. At 8:57, he heard a door close. At 8:59, he heard voices, Kayamika and Emeka, whispering but urgent. At 9 p.m. exactly, a scream shattered the silence of the mansion. Chief stood up slowly, put on his mask one more time, and walked out of his study to face the trap his wife had set, because now it was time for the snake to strike, and he was ready. The scream was loud enough to wake the entire mansion. Chief Adebayo walked out of his study calmly. Even though his heart was pounding, he could hear running footsteps, security guards rushing up the stairs, house staff emerging from various rooms. He walked toward the master bedroom slowly, deliberately. Kayamika stood in the middle of the room, her hair disheveled, her expensive nightgown torn at the shoulder. Her face was a mask of terror and pain, and on her arms, dark purple bruises stood out against her skin. The makeup artist really was talented, Chief thought distantly. Emeka stood near the doorway, his face a picture of shock and concern. "Chief, brother, what happened?" Chief looked at him. This man had been in his bed with his wife less than 24 hours ago, and now he stood there calling him brother. "I don't know," Chief said quietly. "I was in my study when I heard screaming." Kayamika's eyes met his, and for just a moment, less than a second, he saw something flicker there. Triumph? Anticipation? Then her face crumpled and she burst into tears. He hit me," she sobbed, pointing at Chief with shaking hand. The security guards froze. The household staff gasped. Chief stayed perfectly still. "That's not true. Look at my arms." Kayamika cried, holding them up. The bruises were vivid, realistic, horrible. "Look what he did to me." The head security guard, Musa, stepped forward carefully. "Sir, madam, what is happening here?" "He came home angry," Kayamika sobbed. "He said I was spending too much money. He grabbed me. He pushed me against the wall." She broke down, unable to continue. Emeka put a protective arm around her shoulders. "I was just visiting as a family friend when I heard her scream. I ran in and found her like this." Family friend. The lie was so smooth. Chief looked at them both. Then he looked at Musa. "None of that is true. I've been in my study all evening." Then explained these bruises. Kayamika screamed suddenly, her voice sharp with rage. "Explain these marks. Did I do this to myself?" "Maybe you did," Chief said quietly. The room went silent. Kayamika's eyes widened. How dare you accuse me when you—" "Madam," Musa interrupted gently, "perhaps we should call the police. Let them investigate properly." "Yes," Kayamika said immediately. "Call them. I want him arrested. I want everyone to know what kind of man he is." One of the guards pulled out his phone. Within minutes, the call was made. Chief stood there calmly. Inside, his mind was racing, but outside, he showed nothing. Blessing was somewhere nearby, recording. The plan was working. 20 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived at the Banana Island mansion. They listened as Kayamika told her story, crying dramatically, showing her bruises, playing the terrified wife. They listened as Emeka backed up every word, adding details about hearing the argument and rushing to help. Then they turned to Chief. "Sir, what is your side of this?" "I did not touch my wife," Chief said calmly. I was in my study working. She is lying. Lying! Kayamika shrieked. You're calling me a liar? Look at me. Look at what you did. The senior officer, Inspector Okonkwo, studied Chief's face. Sir, these are serious accusations. We'll need you to come to the station for questioning. Chief nodded. I understand. I'll cooperate fully. No! Kayamika cried. Don't let him sweet-talk you. He's dangerous. He threatened to kill me if I ever try to leave him. Emeka nodded gravely. I heard him say it, officer, just last week. More lies, piling up like bricks in a wall. Inspector Okonkwo looked uncomfortable. Sir, I'm sorry, but given the circumstances, we'll need to take you in. Chief held out his wrists. Then, take me. The gesture was so calm, so dignified, that it made everyone pause. This didn't look like a violent man, but the evidence, as the officers led Chief toward the stairs, he passed Blessing. She was standing with the other staff, her face carefully neutral, but her hand was in her apron pocket, recording. Their eyes met for half a second. Chief nodded almost imperceptibly. At Panny Police Station, Chief was questioned for 3 hours. The same questions over and over. Where were you? What happened? Did you hit her? Why would she lie? Chief answered every question the same way, calmly, consistently. I did not touch my wife. Finally, around 1 a.m., Inspector Okonkwo came back into the interrogation room. Sir, we're releasing you on bail for now, but you cannot leave Lagos, and you cannot go near your wife. I understand. There will be a full investigation. Good, Chief said. I welcome it. The inspector frowned. Most guilty men didn't say that. When Chief finally returned to the mansion, it was nearly 2 a.m. The house was dark. Kayamika had locked herself in the master bedroom. The guards looked at him with suspicion now. He went to the guest room, closed the door, and finally let himself break. He sat on the edge of the bed and put his face in his hands. The woman he'd loved, the woman he'd built a life with, had just tried to destroy him, and it had almost worked. A soft knock on the door. Sir, it's Blessing. He opened it. She slipped inside quickly, her eyes wide. Sir, after you left, Madam and Mr. Emeka celebrated. I recorded everything. She pulled out her phone and played it. Kayamika's voice loud and triumphant. It worked. Did you see his face? He had no idea. Emeka laughing. You were brilliant. Those bruises looked so real. They should. I paid that makeup artist 500,000 naira to teach me. What happens now? Now we wait. In a few days, I'll file for divorce. Domestic violence grounds. The court will give me everything. Chief listened to the recording, his jaw tight. Then Blessing said quietly, Sir, there's more. More. She fast-forwarded. Listen to this part. It's from this afternoon. Kayamika's voice again. Tomorrow, I'm making another announcement. What announcement? I'm pregnant. Chief's head snapped up. What? Blessing nodded grimly. She's planning to announce it tomorrow. To the media. To turn even more people against you. But is she actually pregnant? Yes, sir. I found the test in her bathroom last week. And I found something else. Blessing pulled out her phone again and showed him photos. Medical documents. Ultrasound reports. I took pictures of everything while cleaning her room. Chief looked at the dates. His blood ran cold. This ultrasound is dated 3 months ago. Yes, sir. Kayamika and we haven't been intimate in 4 months. Blessing nodded. The baby can't be yours, sir. Chief sat down heavily. A baby. Kayamika was carrying another man's baby and planning to pass it off as his, to trap him permanently, to secure her claim to his wealth. This is... He couldn't find words. Evil, Blessing finished. This is evil, sir. Chief looked at the evidence on her phone. Then he looked at her. You risked a lot to get this. Someone had to, sir. If she finds out... She won't, Blessing said firmly. I'm careful. Chief stood up and paced the small room. His mind was racing now, putting pieces together. She's going to announce the pregnancy tomorrow. Use it to destroy my reputation completely. He beat his pregnant wife. Yes, sir. The public will turn against you even more. Unless... Chief's eyes hardened. Unless we're ready with our own announcement. Sir, call Barrister Tund. Tell him we're moving the timeline up. Press conference. Tomorrow afternoon. Before she can say anything. Blessing's eyes widened. Are you sure, sir? I'm done playing defense. It's time to attack. The next morning, the media exploded. Chief Adebayo's spokesman released a statement. Chief Adebayo Ogunlade requests the honor of your presence at a press conference today at 3 p.m. Eco Hotel. The truth will be revealed. Social media went crazy. Hashtag Chief Adebayo was trending. Everyone had an opinion. Rich men always think they can buy their way out. I believe her. Why would she lie? Something doesn't add up. Let's wait and see. At the mansion, Kayamika saw the announcement and panicked. What is he doing? She hissed to Emeka over the phone. Why is he calling a press conference? Relax. He's just trying to look innocent. Stick to the plan. You go there, cry, show the bruises. We'll crush him. But Kayamika felt uneasy. Something about Chief's calmness bothered her. Emeka, what if he has something? Like what? He can't prove a negative. You said he hit you. That's your word. The bruises are real. What can he possibly have? Kayamika looked at herself in the mirror. The bruises were still there, carefully maintained. She touched her stomach, where a 3-month-old baby grew. Emeka's baby, not Chief's. You're right, she said finally. Let's go destroy him. At 2 p.m., Kayamika made her own announcement on Instagram. Today I will face my abuser at his press conference. I'm doing this for every woman who has suffered in silence. Hashtag justice for Kayamika. She added a photo of her bruised arms. The post went viral in minutes. By 2:45 p.m., Eco Hotel's conference room was packed. Journalists, bloggers, cameras everywhere. The air was electric with anticipation. Kayamika arrived wearing all black, looking like a grieving widow. Emeka walked beside her, playing the supportive friend. They took seats in the front row. At exactly 3 p.m., the side door opened. Chief Adebayo walked in, wearing a traditional white agbada. Beside him was Barrister Tund. And beside the lawyer was someone else. Blessing. Kayamika's face went pale. What was the maid doing there? Chief stepped up to the podium. The room fell silent. Cameras flashed. Good afternoon, he said calmly. My name is Chief Adebayo Ogunlade, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Kayamika gripped Emeka's hand. This was it. 2 days ago. Chief continued, my wife accused me of domestic violence. She showed bruises. She cried. She told a very convincing story. The room waited, but it was all a lie. The room erupted. Kayamika stood up. How dare you? Sit down, Chief said quietly, but with such authority that she actually did. I have proof, Chief said. He nodded to Barrister Tund, who pulled out a laptop. Before we begin, Chief said, I want to introduce someone. This is Blessing Adeyemi. She works in my home, and she saved my life. All eyes turned to Blessing. She looked terrified but stood tall. 2 nights ago, Chief said, I returned home early from a business trip. I wanted to surprise my wife. Instead, his voice caught slightly. Instead, I found her in our bedroom with another man. Gasps filled the room. Cameras swung to Kayamika, whose face had gone white. I was about to confront them, Chief continued. But Blessing stopped me. She whispered 2 words. Be quiet. The room was silent now. She told me to record them instead. So I did. Chief nodded. The laptop screen came to life on the projector behind him, and Kayamika's voice filled the room. Tomorrow night, everything changes. The bruises are already ready. He'll be arrested. I'll get half of everything. 15 billion naira. The room exploded. Kayamika stood up, screaming, Turn it off! Turn it off! But the recording played on. Every word, every laugh, every detail of the plot. When it ended, Chief spoke again. That recording was made 48 hours before she accused me. She planned this. The bruises are makeup. The story is fiction. The goal was my destruction. Reporters were shouting questions. Kayamika was crying, real tears this time, but from rage and fear, not sadness. That's not all, Chief said. Kayamika's head snapped up. My wife is pregnant, Chief announced. Kayamika's eyes widened. How did he know? She was planning to announce it today, to make me look even worse. He beat his pregnant wife. Chief's voice hardened. But there's a problem with that story. He nodded to Barrister Tund, who held up a document. This is an ultrasound dated 3 months ago. My wife is 3 months pregnant. The room buzzed. Where was he going with this? My wife and I have not been intimate in over 4 months. The room went silent, which means, Chief said slowly, that baby is not mine. The room exploded again. Cameras flashed frantically. Kayamika stood frozen, her hand instinctively going to her stomach. We've requested a DNA test. Barrister Tund added. The results will be available within a week. But the timeline speaks for itself. Kayamika finally found her voice. You're lying. You're making this up. Am I? Chief looked directly at her. Emeka, would you like to confirm whose baby it is? Every camera turned to Emeka. His face was pure panic. He tried to run. Security blocked the doors. Inspector Okonkwo, who had been watching from the back, stepped forward. Mrs. Kayamika Ogunlade, Mr. Emeka Akoli, you're under arrest for fraud, false accusation, and conspiracy. Kayamika screamed. Emeka tried to fight. It took 4 officers to restrain them both. As they were dragged out in handcuffs, Kayamika looked back at Chief one last time. I gave you the best years of my life. Chief's voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. You gave me the best lives of yours. The room erupted in chaos. Questions, cameras, shouting. But Chief just stepped down from the podium, walked over to Blessing, and said softly, Thank you. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. It was over. Or so they thought. Exposed. The recordings. The pregnancy. The DNA timeline. Kayamika arrested on live TV. Emeka tried to run. The whole country saw the truth. 15 billion naira saved. But wait, this isn't over yet. Because tonight, someone is coming for Blessing. Next chapter is the assassination attempt, and you will not believe what happens. Smash that like button. Subscribe to Africantales by Zion. Share this with everyone. Comment your reaction. The night was quiet in Abadan. Too quiet. Blessing lay in her small bed in her mother's modest compound, staring at the ceiling. Sleep wouldn't come. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Kayamika's face when the recordings played. The rage, the hatred, the promise of revenge in those eyes. Blessing, you're still awake? Her mother's voice came softly from the other bed in the room. Yes, Mama. Are you afraid? Blessing was silent for a moment. Chief said, I'm safe now. He sent security men. They're watching the compound. That's not what I asked. Blessing turned her head to look at her mother's silhouette in the darkness. Yes, Mama, I'm afraid. Her mother sat up. You did the right thing. My daughter, you saved an innocent man's life. I know, Mama, but sometimes doing the right thing makes dangerous people very angry. Then we trust in God. Yes, Mama. Her mother lay back down. Within minutes, her breathing deepened into sleep. But Blessing remained awake, listening to every sound. The rustle of leaves outside, a dog barking in the distance. The guard chief had stationed outside, shifting his weight. Around 2 a.m., Blessing finally felt her eyes growing heavy. Maybe sleep would come after all. Maybe everything would be. The sound of splintering which shattered the night. Blessing's eyes flew open. Shouts erupted from outside. Her mother sat up with a gasp. Mama, get down. Blessing hissed, rolling out of bed. The bedroom door burst open. A man stood there, masked, dressed in black. In his hand was a gun. Nobody move, he said in Yoruba, his voice cold. Blessing's mother screamed. The man raised the gun, pointing it at Blessing. You're the one who destroyed Madame Kayamika. Blessing's heart hammered, So hard, she thought it would burst. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't." "Orders are orders," the man said. "You shouldn't have opened your mouth." He pulled the trigger. The sound was deafening. But Blessing didn't feel anything. She looked down at herself, confused. Then she realized the bullet had hit the wall beside her. The man's aim had been off because someone had crashed into him from the side. Chief Security Guard, the one who'd been stationed outside, tackled the assassin. They crashed to the floor, wrestling for the gun. "Run!" the guard shouted at Blessing. "Run!" Blessing grabbed her mother's hand and ran out of the bedroom. But there was another man in the narrow hallway, bigger, also masked, also armed. "Going somewhere?" he asked, raising his weapon. Blessing shoved her mother behind her, even though she knew it was useless. This was it. This was how it ended. She'd saved Chief Adebayo's life, and now she would lose her own. The man's finger tightened on the trigger. Gunshots exploded. 3 of them. But Blessing was still standing. The man in front of her wasn't. He collapsed, blood blooming across his chest. Behind him stood 2 more security men. The ones Chief had secretly stationed in a car down the street. "Are you hurt?" one of them asked urgently, checking Blessing over. "No, I don't think so." From the bedroom came more gunshots, then silence. The security guard emerged, dragging the first assassin. The man's mask had been ripped off, revealing a face twisted with fear. He was bleeding from his shoulder, but alive. "I got him," the guard said. "But we need to move. There might be more." Within minutes, the compound was swarming with people. Neighbors had come out despite the danger. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Blessing sat on a wooden bench in the small parlor, her whole body shaking. Her mother wrapped a wrapper around her shoulders. My daughter," she kept saying over and over. "Mama, I'm okay. I'm okay." But she wasn't okay. Someone had just tried to kill her. 2 men with guns had broken into her home with one mission: silence the maid who knew too much. A senior police officer arrived. Inspector Adeyemi, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes. "Miss Blessing Adeyemi?" she asked. Blessing nodded. "Can you tell me what happened?" Blessing recounted everything in a shaking voice. The break-in, the gun, the word the man had said, "You destroyed Madame Kayamika." Inspector Adeyemi's eyes narrowed. "We have one of them alive. He's being taken to the hospital under guard. We'll make him talk." "He was sent by Kayamika?" Blessing asked. "That's what we're going to find out." 3 hours later, Blessing was no longer in Ibadan. Chief Adebayo had insisted she be brought to Lagos immediately to a secure location. Now she sat in a luxury hotel suite in Victoria Island, wrapped in a hotel robe, still shaking. Chief Adebayo burst through the door, followed by Barrister Tund and Inspector Okonkwo from Lagos Police. "Blessing." Chief rushed to her, dropping to his knees beside her chair. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "No, sir. Your men, they saved me." Chief closed his eyes for a moment, relief washing over his face. "Thank God. Thank God." "Sir, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone home. I put everyone in danger." "You did nothing wrong," Chief said firmly. "This is not your fault. This is theirs." Inspector Okonkwo stepped forward. "Miss Blessing, we have news from Ibadan. The captured assassin has confessed." Everyone turned to look at him. "His name is Tund Aladil. He's a hired criminal. He was paid 5 million naira to eliminate you." The inspector paused. "He was hired by a man named Chidi Nwosu." Blessing frowned. "Who?" "Kayamika's older brother," Barrister Tund said grimly. Chief stood up, his face hardening. "Her brother?" "Yes. We already have phone records. Chidi called this Tund multiple times over the past 3 days. Money was transferred from Chidi's account to Tund's yesterday. Where is Chidi now?" Chief asked, his voice dangerous. "We're bringing him in for questioning as we speak." Chief paced the room, his hands clenched into fists. "They tried to kill her, an innocent young woman. They tried to silence her because she told the truth. And now we have them on attempted murder." Inspector Okonkwo said, "This adds years to their sentences." Kayamika will be charged as an accessory. Emeka as well if he knew. Blessing spoke quietly. Why? Why would they do this? They're already caught, already arrested. Why make it worse? Chief stopped pacing and looked at her because people like them never accept responsibility. They blame everyone else. And they wanted revenge. Well, they'll get life in prison instead, Barrister Tun said coldly. The next morning, the news exploded across Nigeria. Assassination attempt on heroic Maid who exposed Billionaire's wife. Kayamika's brother hired hitman to silence witness. Blessing Adeyemi survives murder plot. Public opinion, which had been firmly on Chief and Blessing's side, now became a tidal wave of support. People were outraged. Social media erupted. They tried to kill her for telling the truth. This family is evil. Protect Blessing at all costs. Life in prison is too good for them. At the police station, Chidi Nwosu sat in an interrogation room, his expensive suit now wrinkled, his confident businessman persona crumbling. I didn't mean for anyone to die, he said, his voice shaking. I was trying to help my sister. By hiring assassins? Inspector Adeyemi asked coldly. She's my blood. That maid destroyed her life. Your sister destroyed her own life with lies and greed. The maid simply exposed the truth. Chidi put his head in his hands. I thought if the witness was gone, maybe the case would fall apart. Maybe Kayamika could get a lighter sentence. Instead, you've ensured she'll never see freedom again. When Kayamika was informed of her brother's arrest in her prison cell, she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just laughed. A hollow, broken laugh. It's over, she said to the guard. It's really over. Yes, madam. It is. Back at the hotel, Chief sat with Blessing in the suite. She was calmer now, though still shaken. Sir, I want to go back to work, she said suddenly. Chief looked at her in surprise. Work? Blessing, you almost died last night. I know, but I can't hide forever. I can't let them win by making me afraid. Chief studied her face. This young woman, barely 24, had more courage than people twice her age. You're not going back to work as a maid, he said finally. Blessing's face fell. Sir, please don't fire me. I'm not firing you, Chief interrupted. I'm promoting you. She blinked. Promoting? You're going to university. Full scholarship, any course you want. And when you graduate, you'll have a position in my company. Management level. Sir, I can't accept. You saved my life, Blessing. You risked your own life to tell me the truth. This isn't charity. This is what you've earned. Tears rolled down Blessing's face. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept. She nodded, unable to speak. Chief smiled, the first real smile in days. Good. And one more thing. Yes, sir? Stop calling me sir. My friends call me Adebayo. Blessing wiped her tears and smiled back. Yes, yes, Adebayo. Outside the hotel window, Lagos sparkled in the morning sun. Somewhere in that city, Kayamika and Emeka sat in prison cells, awaiting trial. Chidi had joined them. Justice was coming. And this time, nothing would stop it. 3 months later, the Lagos High Court was packed to capacity. This wasn't just another trial. This was the conclusion of a story that had captivated all of Nigeria. Outside, vendors sold newspapers with headlines like The Billionaire's Betrayer, Final Judgment, and Fake Bruises, Real Justice. TV crews from every major station had set up cameras. Bloggers live-streamed. The entire nation was watching. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was electric. Chief Adebayo sat in the gallery, wearing a traditional white agbada. Beside him was Blessing, no longer in a maid's uniform but in an elegant navy blue dress. She looked different now, more confident, more educated. She'd been attending university for the past 3 months, studying business administration, making Chief proud. In the defendant's dock sat 3 people. Kayamika Ogunlade, in an orange prison uniform, her once beautiful hair now dull and lifeless. She looked thin, hardened by 3 months in Kirikiri prison. When she glanced back at Chief, he saw no remorse, only bitterness. Beside her sat Emeka Akoli in a gray prison uniform, staring at the floor. He'd tried to make a deal with prosecutors, testify against Kayamaka for a lighter sentence. But there was too much evidence against him. The deal had been refused. And at the end sat Chidi Nwosu, Kayamaka's brother. He looked the worst of all three. The man who'd hired assassins now looked haunted, broken. He couldn't even look at his sister. The bailiff called out, "All rise for the Honorable Justice Olufunk Adeyemi." Everyone stood as Justice Adeyemi entered, a woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She presided over the entire trial, listening to weeks of testimony, reviewing mountains of evidence. She sat down. Everyone else sat. "We are here," Justice Adeyemi began, "for the sentencing in the case of the state versus Kayamaka Ogunlade, Emeka Akoli and Chidi Nwosu." The courtroom held its breath. "This has been one of the most disturbing cases I've encountered in 20 years on the bench," the judge continued. "What started as infidelity evolved into conspiracy, fraud, false accusation, and ultimately attempted murder. 3 defendants, 3 different levels of guilt, but all guilty nonetheless." Kayamaka's mother, sitting in the gallery, began to cry quietly. Justice Adeyemi looked at her notes, then at the defendants. "Mrs. Kayamaka Ogunlade, please stand." Kayamaka stood, her chains rattling. "You have been found guilty of conspiracy to commit fraud, false accusation of domestic violence, perjury, and accessory to attempted murder. The evidence against you was overwhelming. You planned for months to destroy an innocent man. You manipulated evidence. You lied to police. You lied to the media. And when your lies were exposed, you gave your blessing for an innocent young woman to be murdered." Kayamaka's lips trembled, but she said nothing. "You showed no remorse throughout this trial, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing, no apology to the man whose life you tried to ruin or the woman whose life you tried to end." Justice Adeyemi's voice grew harder. "This court hereby sentences you to 15 years imprisonment. No possibility of parole for the first 10 years. Kayamaka gasped. Her mother wailed. But Justice Adeyemi wasn't finished. "Additionally, you're ordered to pay Chief Adebayo Ogunlade 50 million naira in damages for defamation and emotional distress. Any assets you possess will be liquidated to satisfy this judgment." Kayamaka collapsed into her seat, shaking. "Mr. Emeka Akoli, stand." Emeka stood slowly. "You were the architect of this conspiracy. You convinced Mrs. Kayamaka to pursue this path. You benefited from her marriage while plotting to destroy it. You participated in the fraud and supported the false accusation." Justice Adeyemi paused. "You are sentenced to 12 years imprisonment. No parole for 8 years." Emeka nodded once, accepting his fate. "Mr. Chidi Nwosu, stand." Chidi stood on shaking legs. "Your crime is perhaps the most heinous. You hired men to commit murder. You paid 5 million naira for an innocent woman to be killed. That those men failed is not due to your mercy, but to the bravery of security officers and the grace of God." Justice Adeyemi's voice was ice. "You are sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. No possibility of parole for 15 years. And you will be liable for all medical costs and damages to Miss Blessing Adeyemi, amount to be determined in civil court." Chidi collapsed, sobbing. "Take them away," Justice Adeyemi ordered. As the guards led the 3 defendants out, Kayamaka looked back one final time. Her eyes found Chief Adebayo. For a moment, their eyes locked. Chief saw no remorse, only rage that she'd been caught. He turned away. She was no longer his concern. Outside the courthouse, Chief and Blessing faced a wall of cameras and microphones. "Chief Adebayo, how do you feel about the verdict?" "Justice has been served," Chief said simply. "My name has been cleared. My company's reputation restored. And most importantly, the truth won. Miss Blessing, you're a hero. How does it feel?" Blessing spoke quietly into the microphones. "I'm not a hero. I just did what was right. I couldn't stay silent while an innocent man was destroyed. Will you forgive them?" Blessing paused, thinking, "I forgive them for me, not for them. Carrying hatred would only hurt me. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or accepting. It means I'm free." The reporters loved her. By evening, Her quotes would be shared millions of times across social media. 1 week later, Chief kept his final promise to Blessing. He'd bought a 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood in Abaddon for her and her mother, not a mansion. Blessing had insisted on something modest, but it was solid, safe, with a small garden and a gate. When Blessing's mother saw it, she cried for an hour. "My daughter," she kept saying, "look what God has done." Chief had also established a trust fund, 10 million naira invested to pay for Blessing's education and provide income for her mother. It was enough for security, comfort, dignity. But more than money, Chief gave Blessing something else. A job offer. "When you graduate," he said, "you'll start as assistant manager in my company's HR department. Salary, 300,000 naira per month, with yearly increases based on performance." Blessing had looked at the contract with tears in her eyes. "This is too much." "No," Chief said firmly. "You saved my life, my company, my reputation. This isn't too much. It's not nearly enough." 6 months later, Chief stood at his mother's grave in a cemetery in Mushin. It was a simple grave. His mother had been a simple woman. She'd raised him alone, worked her fingers to the bone, died too young from exhaustion and diabetes. "Mama," he said quietly, placing flowers on the headstone, "I wish you were here. I wish you could see what I've built. Not just the company or the money, but the life." The wind rustled the leaves overhead. "I made a mistake, Mama. I trusted the wrong woman. I almost lost everything you worked so hard to give me." He paused. "But God sent someone to save me. A young woman who reminded me of you. Brave, honest, kind." He straightened. "I'm okay now, Mama. I'm free, and I'm going to live the rest of my life making you proud." As Chief walked back to his car, he felt lighter than he had in years. The burden of betrayal had lifted. The weight of lies had dissolved. He was free to build again, to trust again, to live again. 1 year after the trial, Chief Adebayo launched a new foundation. Be quiet, be wise. It wasn't about staying silent. It was about being strategic, observing, gathering evidence before acting, protecting yourself with truth. The foundation helped domestic violence victims, real ones, navigate the legal system. It provided lawyers, counselors, safe houses. It taught people how to document abuse, protect themselves, seek justice the right way. Blessing became the foundation's director of operations. At the opening ceremony, she gave a speech that would be remembered for years. 1 year ago, she said, "I was a maid. I cleaned houses. I served food. I was invisible to most people. But I saw something wrong, and I had a choice: stay silent and safe, or speak up and risk everything." The audience listened, transfixed. I chose to speak up. And yes, it was terrifying. Yes, I almost died. But I couldn't let a good man be destroyed by lies. And today, I stand here not as a maid, but as a university graduate, a foundation director, and living proof that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, is always worth it. The applause was thunderous. Chief Adebayo watched in the front row, his eyes shining with pride. Somewhere in Kirikiri prison, Kayamika sat in her cell, listening to other inmates talk about the news, about Chief Adebayo's new foundation, about how Blessing was now successful, educated, respected. "Should have treated that girl better," one inmate commented. "Maybe she wouldn't have brought you down." Kayamika said nothing. There was nothing to say. She'd lost everything. Her beauty, her freedom, her reputation. The baby she'd been carrying, Emeka's baby, had been born in prison and immediately taken by social services. She would never see that child. And for what? For greed? For 15 billion naira she would never touch? She lay down on her thin mattress and stared at the ceiling, doing what she would do for the next 15 years, regretting. 2 years after the trial, Chief Adebayo sat in his office, reviewing plans for a new oil refinery project, when Blessing knocked on his door. "Adebayo," she said. She'd finally stopped calling him sir. "I wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For everything. The education, the job, the trust, the chance at a real life." Chief smiled. You earned all of it. Maybe, but you gave it, and I'll never forget that. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. You know what the best part is? Chief asked. What? I get to watch you succeed. I get to see the woman who saved my life build her own incredible life. That's my reward. Blessing smiled. Then we both won. Yes, Chief agreed. We both won. 5 years after the trial, Chief Adebayo attended his first wedding as a guest since his divorce was finalized. Blessing's wedding. She'd fallen in love with a young engineer from her university. A good man, an honest man, someone who saw her worth not because she was famous, but because she was her. As Chief watched Blessing walk down the aisle in her white dress, radiant and happy, he felt a sense of completion. The story that had begun with betrayal and pain had ended with justice and joy. Blessing caught his eye as she passed. She mouthed 2 words. Thank you. Chief nodded. But inside, he was the one who was grateful. Because she hadn't just saved his life 5 years ago. She'd restored his faith in humanity. Shown him that good people still existed. That courage still mattered. That truth still won. After the ceremony, Chief stepped outside for air. He looked up at the Lagos sky, clear and blue, and thought about his journey. From poverty in Mushin to wealth in Banana Island. From a broken marriage to a peaceful freedom. From betrayal to blessing. His phone buzzed. A text from Blessing. You'll always be family. Thank you for seeing my worth when no one else did. Chief smiled and texted back. Thank you for saving my life when no one else would. He put his phone away and walked back into the wedding reception, where music played and people danced and life celebrated itself. Because that's what happens when you survive the darkness, when you choose truth over comfort, when you let justice win. You get to dance again. The end. From betrayal to blessing. From lies to justice. From death threats to university graduation. Kayamika got 15 years. Emeka got 12 years. Chitty got 20 years. And Blessing? She got education, career, respect, a whole new life. Chief Adebayo lost a fake wife, but gained a real family. This is what happens when you speak the truth even when it's dangerous. This is what happens when you whisper, be quiet, at the right moment. This is what happens when good people refuse to let evil win. If this story moved you, inspired you, changed you, smash that like button until it breaks. Subscribe to African Tales by Zion for more stories where justice wins, where truth prevails, where the brave are rewarded. Share this with every woman who's been called worthless. Share it with every person who's been betrayed. Share it with everyone who needs to know that your voice matters. Your courage matters. Your truth matters. Drop a comment. What was your favorite moment? The be quiet scene? The press conference? The assassination? The trial? Tell us. And remember this. Sometimes the smallest voice speaks the loudest truth. Sometimes a whisper saves a life. Sometimes a maid becomes a hero. And always, always, good people win. Turn on all notifications. We have more powerful African stories coming. Stories of courage, justice, love, and victory. Thank you for watching African Tales by Zion. God bless you all. Stay blessed. Stay courageous. Stay truthful.